Welcome back to the double leg. I'm one half of the show, Hey Jai Picks. The other half of the show, the parlay, joining me in to recap some UFC London. Let's get it. Afternoon, jam-packed with fights, 15 to be exact, and the pacing was off the charts. It was one after the other and a lot of decisions, so they had to keep them coming. But overall, a profitable weekend for me. I went up 1.27 units. It was looking like we could not catch a break for a second there. We almost started off on an absolute heater, having Daniel Barres first round KO, and almost happened. We cashed. The fight doesn't go the distance. We lost like 6 bets in a row. Luckily, they were all pretty small. And then at the end, we cleaned up and cashed it in and ended up in the profit. So that's where we always want to be. How'd it go for you?
Yeah, dude, I couldn't get any of the slight underdogs to cash. Davey Grant loses a controversial decision. That one stung because you just knew that set the tone for the rest of the night. I had Barres on the money line too, so I was a little pissed when he lost after having him hurt in the first round. But I also had Feel by sub at plus 440, so it kind of evened out on that fight. Dude, Molly McCann selling parlays all night, left and right. Dude, Nathaniel Wood almost selling. I mean, dude, it was just a weird night all around. I had Wood and Muradov in a parlay that hit, and I had Ketlin Vieira by decision parlayed with Muradov inside the distance. And there's a few occasions I thought he was going to put Brian Barberina out of there, and he didn't do it. And that was like nearly plus 400 parlay. And I was fuming when he didn't finish that fight. But what can you do? It was a net loss on the night for me. Super pumped for UFC 291. So yeah, I'm just gonna put it past this and move forward.
We can go through all the fights and recap them a little bit. But if you want to get in on the premium membership, link will be in the description for that. We're looking to make some good coin going forward. UFC 291 and the Discord has been popping every day. Been throwing in some MLB plays in the other sports bet section as well. So if you're into that, make sure to hop in there. That is a premium members only chat in the Discord, and it's been going crazy as of lately. A lot of good stuff happening there. But we can get in with the main event. Tom Aspinall getting it done in a minute and 13 seconds. I pretty much figured he was going to do this. I'm huge on Tom Aspinall, but I didn't think he was going to do it in 73 seconds. I thought he'd maybe shoot a takedown here and there, but one little right hand to the chin and put him out pretty much. Very impressive. And yeah, I think he was worthy of like a minus 800 tag in that spot, to be honest. He was like minus 400 at close, somewhere around there. His heavyweights, he was making his return, but if he's at his full capacity, like he's minus 800, minus 1,000 in that spot, in my opinion. And he gets it done. What'd you think?
Dude, Tom Aspinall on the feet for a heavyweight is lightning fast, and he showed it. I just don't think Tybura was prepared for that level of speed, and it showed with that right hand he snuck through the guard to put him down. And it's a scary thought going forward because, the heavyweight division at the top, guys like John Jones, Cyril Gahn, who's a good striker. Tom Aspinall fits in the mix pretty good. Sergey Pavlovich. I mean, that top 5 of the heavyweight division is going to be super interesting going forward. And I can't wait to see where he goes. I mean, that performance was phenomenal. It's exactly what you need to do coming off of a knee injury in front of your home crowd. And like I said, man, the hands are just lightning fast. It's going to be hard for anybody who's not named John Jones to keep up with that speed. And even John Jones, man, I'm not saying Tom Aspinall goes out there and beats John, but dude, that speed's lightning fast for anybody. So it's going to be super interesting. And he's got wrestling too. So down the road, if he does fight John, I think it's going to be a super, super fun fight.
Yeah, he's so smooth when he fights too. It's like he's 13-3. 12 of his 13 wins are all first round finishes. The finish is always live.
Yeah.
Just like made it right on the front of the chin, kind of cocked his neck back and dropped him. And if he goes to the ground, he's got the great submissions. I mean, I'm excited to see where he ends up next, who he fights next. If he does end up getting a John Jones fight down the line. It's pretty wishful thinking, but yeah, the guy he's the truth. I think he might be one of the most skilled. Like, just think about it. Could he outbox John Jones? He could. Like, if it was just a straight up boxing match, like John Jones, not like a great boxer. He uses his length and his kicks and his different techniques a lot. Tom Aspinall's got great boxing. He's got great kicks. He's got great movement all around. He's got a great ground game, and still 100% takedown accuracy. Still 100% takedown defense. We'll see how he can look up against a bigger test that's in front of him, because Curtis Blades was supposed to be that, and then he got injured, and then he kind of takes a step back here and takes on Tybura. Looks the same, but moving forward, he said he wanted Gane or Spivak. I don't know, like that seems like the easier fight to take. I think the UFC probably matches him up with Pavlovich next, or they just keep him on the sidelines and he does get that fight against Gane or Spivak. But I don't know. I mean, they need someone to fight Pavlovich like eventually, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Forever. So I don't know. What do you think happens with that?
Yeah, I think with John Jones, especially first, before I get into his next fight, I think we got to see what Tom Aspinall looks like going past the first round. Like, what's he look like in the second or third, and championship rounds even. Like, it's going to be hard for us to see what he looks like, because I think he just beats everybody before it gets there for now. But I'd rather see him against like Cyril Gane, a guy who can match him on the feet. I know he probably just goes out there and takes Gane down if he wanted to. I mean, I don't know though, man. On the feet, I just want to see Tom Aspinall pass round one. I don't care who he fights next. I think he beats whoever he fights next. Sergey Pavlovich is interesting because you got a big dude who's going to be hard to take down. He's going to be hard to get in on to take down. So yeah, man, I don't know. Anybody Tom Aspinall fights next, though, it's going to be a fun fight just because of the caliber of heavyweight he's going to get in his next one.
Yeah, the Pavlovich fight is like, I wonder how he would deal with the pressure that Pavlovich presents. Like, a lot of these guys that he's faced so far, they just don't present the same type of danger on the feet that like a Pavlovich would. So I wonder if Aspinall would fight any different. And like you said, getting a takedown on Pavlovich is going to be pretty tough because he's so strong and so solid with the hands. And then the hips looked really good against Curtis Blades. Like, Curtis Blades was looking for takedowns, couldn't get it, and ultimately got knocked out. So how many, I mean, the chin on Pavlovich is good too. Like, it's looked really good. So how many fights going forward will we have before those two eventually meet? Probably not too many. Co-main event, you touched on it earlier, Molly McCann getting subbed in under 2 minutes. I mean, I was saying it all week. She's either going to knock her out or she's going to get armbarred. And I didn't expect her to armbar herself, basically. She didn't need to roll into that, but she basically gave it to her. There was a saw tweet today that was like, the worst part about this fight was like Yulia Stoliarenko going for the armbar in a spot where she couldn't even get it, and then it was Molly McCann rolling into to her actually being able to finish the armbar. It's like, yeah, the lowest they gave her a bad opponent that was 1-5 in the UFC, but has one move, and that one move is deadly. For Molly McCann, it's like, bro, she has one move. Like, you just can't give her your arm, and you're solid. And you probably could just outlast the first round, and then she probably can't submit you with an armbar in rounds 2 or 3 because either you're too sweaty or she's just not as explosive. She can't get those takedowns. But no, she gives up the takedown, gets subbed. It was crazy. That's the summary of women's MMA, especially what we've seen this year. It's like, don't even mess around with the chalk for women's. But what are your thoughts?
Oh man, yeah, no, that's exactly it. Like, we talked on the preview show and said Molly McCann is going to have a massive advantage on the feet. She can knock her out. But if Stoliarenko gets to the ground, she could find that finish, and if she does win, it's going to be by submission. I mean, it didn't even take her long at all. And you're in London. Molly McCann comes out screaming, getting the crowd pumped up, and just lays an absolute egg on everybody. Molly the Can, not Molly McCann. It's Molly the Can, because dude, her last 2 performances, I know one's against Blanchfield, and it is what it is with that fight. But Stoliarenko is 1-5 in the UFC. And Molly McCann got the Barstool deal, high on life, the hype train with Patty, and now she's lost 2 in a row, and her last one, a few days ago was inexcusable, honestly. 1-5, you follow her down to the ground, or not follow her down to the ground, but you basically give her the armbar with ease. I mean, that thing was locked in from the moment Molly McCann um, got to the ground. Basically, I mean, you knew it was going to be over. I don't want to say she's so low level on the ground, but you can tell everybody she fights, there's a big discrepancy between her ground game and theirs. I mean, Molly McCann had one job on Saturday, and that was to keep it on the feet. And first round goes out and gets submitted. So busted everybody's parlays. Everybody was talking about it. But I mean, it's like, what do you do next with her? Because you want to have a girl like that winning, because when you do go to London and you're in the O2, people are nuts for Molly McCann over there, especially with that Patty duo. But how do you market a girl that's 0-2 and her last loss was against a girl who's 1-5? So it's just not looking good for Molly right now.
Yeah, that was like the get right spot, and now it's like, where do you go from here? Because honestly, like I've shit on Molly McCann and Patty Pimblett, as most people have, because they've been looking pretty bad. I mean, Patty did win his last fight; he's undefeated in the UFC, but the people that were on the bandwagon are pretty much off because he didn't look good in his last fight, and he kind of acted like he was the shit. So, not a good look there. But personally, I don't mind them being like hyped up, because that London card felt pretty dead, like for the entire night. And then Molly came out, and you could kind of feel the energy going, because Nathaniel Wood had just won in a pretty exciting fight, and the energy was bringing up. And then she loses, and the crowd's down. Like, as a UFC fan, I want the crowd in London to be pumped up. And you look at the cards where Patty and Molly are on the card and they're winning. It's good for the brand. It's good for the sport. So personally, I would actually like them to continue to win, but it's like you have to match them up with cans. And it's like, it's going to be obvious moving forward that you're not giving them, the top, or even if it's Molly McCann, you got to give her a kickboxer that's worse than her, that won't take her down. So it's like, you're going to have to match her up with some very favorable matchups. And she's going to have to at least be able to defend takedowns going forward, because she does, just the ground game isn't there. So unfortunate, but that's the sport. Nathaniel Wood, Andre Fili, I just touched on it. It's pretty exciting fight. What'd you think?
Yeah, I like that fight. Like I said, I had Wood in the parlay, so right off the bat, I was like, oh, we're in a good spot. Gets the knockdown, follows him down with some big ground and pound. But Fili, I think I touched on the preview show, Fili's dangerous, man. He's super dangerous, and he's long and on the feet. I thought Wood would be faster, have some good combinations and stuff, but he got clipped there in the middle of the fight, and it wasn't looking good. Like, he got hit a couple times, and that one time, I mean, he was wobbled, almost falling on his face, and survives it, ends up getting the win. I almost played Fili as a big dog, though, because all the money was on Wood. Fili, like I said, man, I think he's super dangerous. He's fought tons of people and has a lot of experience throughout his entire career. Nathaniel Wood's good, though, but going forward, I don't know. I don't know what's next for Nathaniel Wood. I don't think you throw him in. He's beat some good guys. I don't think you throw him into that top mix yet. I think you give him another fight, because, man, there's a few times, like I said, he got clipped by Andre Fili. And overall, though, an exciting fight for a card that, like you've touched on, was kind of dead. What do you think about it?
Yeah, he's Nathaniel Wood's an exciting fighter, and Andre Fili, I think we called this one like to a T pretty much. We were like, Andre Fili's a live dog, but I think at the end of the day, Nathaniel Wood probably wins it by just being more active. And I was on Nathaniel Wood by decision at like plus 110, somewhere around there. And he obviously won by decision, so I was happy. But yeah, I mean, you could tell the size was definitely in play for Fili. Looked a lot bigger, and that made him an even more live dog, because Nathaniel Wood couldn't quite reach the head on a lot of opportunities that were there just because of the length. And he clipped him in round 1, gets clipped in round 2. Round 3, it was like anyone's fight, because it was pretty clear 1-1 knockdowns in one round, and the second round for Fili. So going into round 3, it was like anybody's fight. They were kind of being a little more calculated with everything, and it came down to the final like 90 seconds of the fight, and Nathaniel Wood just landed like 2 cleaner shots at the end that I think just swayed the round. So it was very close fight.
Yeah.
That could have went either way. And I did think Nathaniel Wood did enough to pull out the win. But moving forward, Andre Feely's kind of that guy that floats around like just past the top 15, like top 25, top 30, and he's been around for a while. So I would probably give him another guy around that same type. Maybe somebody not as long, because if you want to keep building him up. But yeah, I think he's fun to watch. Very quick hands, and he loves to get in a scrap. So
it's obviously tough too.
yeah, very tough, very tough. He could take a punch. He did get stunned with that jab at the beginning. I was like, "Oh shit, this ain't gonna be good." But he came back and rallied. So yeah, it's fun to watch. Paul Craig, get it done. Andre Muniz. I called it on the preview show. I'm like, I'm not trusting Andre Muniz at that price ever again in my life after I saw what he did or what Brendan Allen did to him. Paul Craig goes out there, just does what Paul Craig does. I mean, handles a little bit of a adversary, comes back and gets the ground and pound TKO finish. What is up with Muniz, man? Because he looked like he was something, but that's like back-to-back fights where he just, I don't want to say gave up, but just gets like kind of taken over. And he's like, all right, I'm out. Like, I'm done with this. Paul Craig, he didn't look like that big compared to Andre Muniz. Like, they look pretty similar. I would honestly say Muniz looked a little bit thicker at 185, but still gets it done. And from the rankings in light heavyweight, going to be in the rankings at middleweight now. So interesting matchups for Paul Craig. And I love watching him fight, even though sometimes his fights are like very disappointing. He's always like that wild card. He could pull something out. So yeah, I like seeing him getting a win. I love seeing Paul Craig win. What'd you think?
Yeah, no, I love that fight. Muniz, like you said, man, he looked, even compared to his last fight against Allen, he looked big. Like, he looked bigger, like way thicker.
Yeah.
Craig, obviously, he didn't look as big, but he definitely looked good. I mean, he looks like he had a good weight cut, and it wasn't, a terrible, deathly weight cut down to 185 by any means. So I was happy to see him get the win. Shout out to our buddy Matty Betts for calling the KO prop. He had the second round prop too, so that was always fun to kind of root him on. I know he had that bet, and it was kind of crazy. He didn't even look for a submission when he had him in the mount. He kind of turned his back. I feel like, okay, he's gonna go for the rear naked choke here. He just kept landing those elbows. Those elbows were heavy, and he got Muniz out of there. And it kind of sucks for Muniz though, because you look at him before the Allen fight, and he was on a tear. He was fighting really well, and then you lose the Allen. Now you lose to Paul Craig by TKO too. Not many fighters can say they've lost to Paul Craig by TKO, so it doesn't happen often. So yeah, I don't know where you go with Muniz, but Paul Craig, there's some fun fights at 185 for him, I think. Think of this: Bo Nickel, Paul Craig. You test Bo Nickel with a guy like Craig. Not going to blow you away on the feet, can hang with you on the ground. So I don't know. Probably not the next fight for Bo, but I could see something like that happen in the future.
Yeah, I think he called him out. And I would be interested.
Did he call Bo out?
Yeah.
I wasn't listening to I was watching, but I didn't have the
I don't know. On. I didn't know if it was like right after or if it was like in an interview after, but I know he was interested in a Bo Nickel fight.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. Because that would be very interesting to see what Bo does with like the wrestling, if he just goes for the wrestling. But those hands have looked pretty good. I'm like, does he piece Paul Craig up on the feet? Because Paul Craig isn't like some great, standing striker. So yeah, I think that would be interesting. Probably a good fight for him to, crack into the rankings, because it's not like some dangerous guy with great takedown defense and shit. So yeah, I like it. Farazim Jai Herbert. I don't want to talk about this one much because it was like just a boring fight, and neither guy I think deserved to win because they were just not doing much. Like on the feet, they weren't doing much. It was just a lot of cage control, like swapping position, knees in the clinch. Boring stuff. They didn't really fight to their strengths. And we were on Jai Herbert at plus money. I think it was still the right bet. Like 50-50 fight. I think all 3 rounds were pretty dang close. Farazim may have like stole the rounds just based off of like some timely takedowns towards the end of the round or timely action at the end of the round. But yeah, I think it was still 50-50 and is a toss up. But yeah, I don't want to talk about that one too much. What do you think?
Yep. Yeah, no, same way as you. Disappointing because you look at Jai's last performance against Ludovic Klein. If he fights like that, he beats Farsium, in my opinion. And he comes out in that fight and was aggressive, moving forward, striking. He almost looked like not scared, but like he'd felt a shot early in that fight the other night. And from then on, he was just wanting to throw a few shots and clinch. And then he wasn't as strong as Ziam was. And it was just kind of a stalemate for a lot of the I forget if it was the second or third round, but yeah, man, just didn't really have that killer instinct. It's super unfortunate.
Yeah.
Super unfortunate.
Lerone Murphy, Josh Kulabau. This was where my night sort of turned around because I was on an absolute L streak, and then Lerone Murphy nearly got a submission in round 3, I think it was. He was looking for like a Darce choke, and I had him by KO or decision. I'm like, is this really the way my night's gonna go? Because he was winning the fight pretty clearly and dominated second and third round based off of the grappling. And I mean, looked pretty good. Stayed undefeated. Josh Kulabau was in on there with the hands in the first round, but ultimately just I think got out muscled in rounds 2 and 3. What'd you think?
Yeah, I kept seeing the corners, or whoever the comment. Sorry, Michael Bisping and them talking about how Kulabau might have been hurt. He was like, real secretive with his corner, telling him something. They thought something was wrong after that first round. And it kind of looked like it because, Lerone Murphy is either that good that he just had the beat on him the whole fight, was better everywhere, or something was wrong with him. But either way, Murphy looked really, really good, and still being an undefeated prospect, I think he's got a bright future going forward. I'd say he's not like the most flashy or even dominant fighter, but he's good everywhere. Like his hands looked really good, his grappling looked good, his control. I mean, he fought a really good fight. So going forward, man, that's a guy you can kind of build off of, like for these London cards and stuff. Undefeated fighter. So yeah, good win for Murphy.
Agreed. Davey Grant getting robbed, dare I say, against Daniel Marcos. We don't like to throw around the term robbery, but this one, I felt like he won all 3 rounds. But maybe you could make somewhat of a case for round 2 for Marcos. I didn't think he did enough on the feet whatsoever. Everyone's going to talk about the nosebleed. But yeah, I'll let you take it.
That's just Davy Grant, though. Davy Grant, he's pale faced. His nose was red from the first, jab. That's just the way it goes. I mean, he did get a cut on the nose, but man, you just watch in there, and the volume was clearly in Grant's favor. Like a lot of times, sometimes it's in closer fights. It's hard to cipher which guy is throwing more volume or which guy's landing more. But I thought it was clear as day that Davy Grant was more active. He was the aggressor. He was the one setting the pace and coming forward. And Daniel Marcos was fighting off the back foot. And Davy Grant doubled him up on strikes. All of that put together, I don't see how you give Marcos the fight, in my opinion, man. Especially in the UK, like, that's crazy. You're gonna do Davy Grant like that? Pretty crazy stuff, though, man. But I mean, this is every week now. We always have one fight that the judges just aren't looking at what we're looking at, or their cage side. They're not seeing it all. I don't know what the deal is, but man, I thought Grant fought pretty well against a dangerous Daniel Marcos. I mean, Daniel Marcos is good. Don't get me wrong. He's a good fighter. He's fun to watch. His striking's phenomenal. But I just thought Davy Grant threw the better shots, through more volume at least. I thought he deserved the win, but what can you do?
Yeah, I mean, they say they judge off damage. It's like, all right, if does one shot of damage accumulate over like all 2? I think it started bleeding like end of round 1.
Yeah.
Maybe like start around 2, somewhere around there. And it was clear like it was just from one shot. Like he's got probably a lot of scar tissue around this area, and it's just one shot, just it's all it needs to just start bleeding. And then after that, it's like, all right, well, if you breathe on it, it's gonna start pouring more blood. And it's like, what can you really do? But yeah, it's not a good visual for the judges. I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're making bets in the future, you can take that into your account. Be like, if this guy has a lot of scar tissue, like it's probably not going to look good. But yeah, I thought he won 30-27, more active. the one initiating most things too. Marcos was fighting off the back foot. So if you're looking for like who's the aggressor, it's Davey. More active, it's Davey. I guess damage is the ultimate trump, but yeah, that's it is what it is. But Daniel Marcos stays undefeated, and we'll see who they give him next. Johnny Parsons, Danny Roberts, fight of the night. Not sure if I saw that one coming. I did think it would be a little bit of a slugfest because I was on the under 2.5, but I didn't expect them to start going at it like that, nor to last that long because they were slugging it out, and they lasted like way longer than I thought they would. I don't know if they were just down to scrap that night and they were like, I'm going to leave it all on the line here, but they were throwing hands, and I didn't see Danny Robert like that in like a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Like close or like calculated, crisp striker. No, he came to throw down. I was all about it. What'd you think of it?
Yeah, I think if Danny Roberts would have stayed composed, he would have made it. It would have been a super close fight, and it probably would have gone all the way. And dude, he was looking good. He's fast, and he was bigger. And once he got hit pretty hard one time, you could feel the demeanor change, and you could see him just think, "Oh shit, I got to go out there for the kill right now." And he just came in wild, and he kept getting clipped, and eventually finished, which was disappointing because I was on Roberts. I thought the experience factor, being at home, I thought everything was going to swing in his favor. But Parsons is good, dude. On the feet, he's super good. He was fun to watch. His kickboxing is good. Yeah, not much else to say about that one. I lost that bet, but Parsons is a guy that's going to be fun going forward because he can crack too. It's hard.
Yeah, the slugger not. He's seems like he's just a grinder type of guy.
Dude, and he's not like jacked or nothing. Like you look at him, he's like not built. It's like I don't know, but he looked pretty good.
Yeah, he'll be fun in the future. I don't think he'll go that far, but it'll be fun fights. Joel Alvarez, Mark Jacasey. I was pissed about this one because it was the headbutt, and I'm like, bro, clear headbutt.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think they didn't like continue to look at it on the replay because they needed to get the next fight started. I think that's literally what it came down to because they had so many fights on this card, bunch of decisions. I think all decisions except for the first fight leading up to this one. And then they're way behind on schedule. Mark Jacasey gets headbutted, and then he's like looks at the ref, and Joel Alvarez stops, and then the ref doesn't stop it. So then he's like, all right, I'll take it, and just pounds him a couple times. Jacasey falls to the ground and then cinches up the Darce. And then they start to go look at it to like look if it was a headbutt, probably make it a no contest. And then they just stop looking at it. I'm like, all right, well, I guess Jacasey is getting fucked then because you needed your TV time to like keep going because they can't spend 5-10 minutes on this to review it. It's kind of dumb, but either way, I thought Jacasey should have at least been given that liberty to be like, all right, we're going to give you a fair shot at looking at this, but that's the sport, I guess. What do you think?
Yeah, I think the ref dropped the ball from the get-go when that headbutt happened because Jacasey stops, kind of slaps his head, looks at the ref. Joel Alvarez stops because he knew he headbutted him. And at that point, I think the ref needs to just say, time, go over, look at the replay. If it's a headbutt, give him time. If it's not a headbutt, get back in there and you got to start the fight. And then the fact that he got finished shortly after is what is weird because most of the times they're going to go to the table. Because I think some of the refs were even like saying, hold on, let's take a look at this, outside the octagon. And they did. And, it was immediately, just announced the fight. It's a winner, Joel Alvarez sub. So it was super unfortunate. You could be right on the head with that one. So, yeah, it sucks for Jacasey too. He didn't look bad until that happened.
Yeah, I was like, he started off striking with it. I'm like, oh God, we're gonna get this Jacasey, and then he gets an easy takedown, stays safe, and I'm like, all right, just keep doing that. You could win the last 2 rounds and look good. I think he had a good shot at doing that, but we will never find out. Mick Parkin, Jamal Pogues. This one was hard to watch. I'm not gonna lie because just disgusting heavyweights, honestly.
Yeah,
I know we were both on Mick Parkin. I was on him inside the distance, so I didn't get to cash anything. But he gets his first decision win, and he decides to have a little sparring match, it looked like, with Jamal Pogues. What'd you think?
Yeah, I was on Parkin money line just because Pogues, I don't know. I haven't seen it with him, man. He's beaten Josh Parisian. Okay. In that fight, even he didn't show me much. And Parkin at least had the home crowd advantage. Super pumped the fight. He's pretty heavy handed most of the time. Yeah, but it was pretty ugly. I thought Parkin, easily won. That's all I really cared about in that one. I know you wanted the inside the distance, and I thought he was going to be capable of doing it. But yeah, man, it's just a fight that hard to watch, like you said.
Jamal Pogues has a jab. That's about it.
That's it. He's
He looks
fast. He is fast. With the
somewhat
jab, that's it.
somewhat fast. But no movement with the feet, gets hit with the leg kicks. Mick Parkin looks like he was content to just have a little fun for 15 minutes and beat up on him a little bit and not really look for any kind of finish. But
Yeah.
that is what it is. Mahmoud Murata, Brian Barberena. Brian Barberena got the dog in him for sure, but had no business being at 185 nor being in that fight because Muradov put it on him, but not enough to get him out of there. What do you think?
Yeah, I had Muradov in that parlay inside the distance. Super disappointing because I thought he was going to be able to do it a couple of times. He got the takedowns, and from there you can just tell he's not like a finisher with the jiu-jitsu and stuff at this level because he had Brian Barberena's back. He's bigger than Brian Barberena, and he would just let him back up to the feet, hang on to the back, try to get him back down. But some of the shots he hit Barberena with were pretty flush too. He's a strong dude. He's explosive, but I don't want to say he slowed down towards the end of the fight, but you could tell he was a little hesitant on the feet as the fight went on. But good win for him, Brian Barberena. Props to him for taking tough ass fights. Is all I'm going to say. He always brings it no matter what. But yeah, good win for Muradov. Wish he would have got it done inside the distance.
Yeah, that's the company man right there.
Oh yeah,
we're gonna go and take all the fights that nobody wants to take.
Yep.
Muradov looked sharp with the striking. 13 takedowns for him, which was God dang, like the line on for his takedowns was 1.5, and I'm like really pissed I didn't take the over because I thought he could do it, but I thought he might just stand and strike with him, or maybe get him out there early. But yeah, good win for Muradov. A woman with no takedown defense, Penny Kienza, getting the loss to Ketlin Vieira. You had Vieira by decision in your parlay. Bet you were happy about that one. I was pretty, but she covered the strikes for me, which I was happy.
By the skin of her teeth.
Lord, she 0% takedown defense in this one. 3 for 3 for Ketlin Vieira. 1 takedown's all she needed. But shout out to Penny for turning into it in the third round and landing some ground and pound because we needed every single one of those. But yeah, she's like, what was the game plan? I don't even know what the game plan was for Kianza because she had maybe no idea that Ketlin Vieira could wrestle, but she didn't look like she knew. What do you think?
Yeah, no, Kianza couldn't keep it on the feet. Ketlin looked good on the ground too. She passed into better positions over and over with ease. Props to Penny though for surviving some of those situations. That what was it, an arm triangle in the first or second? It was locked in, and she survived. Did everything right there to get out of it. And then, like you said, man, the last round, she didn't really get a chance to get off any strikes, and then she gets on top and just lands a bucket load just to kind of go over on strikes for you. So that was pretty fun to watch.
Yeah, at least she did that. Chris Duncan, Yanal Ashmouz. Tough one for Yanal, breaking his hand in the first round, or his wrist. And he was one-handed literally for like the whole fight. Survived, landed a couple good shots, but I mean, he's one-handed. And it looked pretty clear. Like, I don't know if Chris Duncan knew, but if he didn't know, he probably should have known because the guy literally would not throw his, I think it was his left hand, right? He was just all right-handed. And yeah, tough one for but got anything on that one?
Nah, just that Chris Duncan looked pretty damn good, even though he's fighting a one-arm fighter. Because in the last fights, he slowed down. You could tell that once he gets hit, he kind of gasses. He took some decent shots from Yanal and just marched forward, dude. He looked really, really good, and like American top teams treating him well.
Yeah, I will say that too. Bruno Brazil, Shauna Bannon. Honestly, people were on Shauna Bannon for like being such a bad performance, but I didn't think Bruno Brazil's cleaner than Shauna Bannon did. So yeah, I don't know. They're not like super high level straw weights. kickboxers don't have much power behind their shots. But what do you think?
Yeah, I was on Bruno Brazil. I thought that the odds were spot on. I thought it was, two girls, similar style, not going to be the best. Should be a decently close fight, but I think Bruno's experience and her size is going to be a little bit, to her advantage. And yeah, it's just kind of a boring back and forth kickboxing match. Some clinch. I mean, it just wasn't the most fun fight to watch. I think the judges had it spot on. Not much else to say about that. I mean, Shauna Bannon's got to add another element to her game because she is a good kickboxer, but she doesn't have that power where she's going to separate herself from girls on the feet. So,
yeah, I thought she looked a little hesitant at first, like rounds 1 and 2. Third round, she looked a little bit more confident, let the hands go a little bit more, and she looked a lot better. But yeah. First fight of the night, Jafal Filio, Daniel Barras.
What a fun fight.
What a fun fight. That is right. And I thought I was going to be so happy starting off. Barras had that knockdown. He's ripping to the body. Jafal Filio went on his back, and Barras was like telling him to get up. And Jafal Filio took forever to get up. I'm like, come on, get up, bro. So you can
I know. Yeah.
But either way, I mean, he came back and battled and wasn't like hesitant at all. Started throwing hands, got the takedown, and submitted him, which was like, damn. Shout out to Jafal Filio. I didn't think after he got submitted by a one-legged fighter, I didn't think he had that type of heart left in him, but he proved me wrong. And shout out to him. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a great win for him. Because dude, Barras, like, it's the first time we've seen him in the UFC, but you can just tell that dude's a monster. Like when he gets in his zone and when he's striking with guys on the feet, I think he was one body shot away from ending it, and just couldn't find it there. He tried, but I think he just saw that kill, saw him hurt to the body, and tried to empty the tank, and it came back to bite him in the ass. Just a fight. I mean, being a debuter though, that's the type of shit you learn from. Like, it's the type of fight. Losing a fight like that's exactly what can be good for guys' careers at times. You saw you had blood in the water, went for the kill and emptied the gas tank, and then you lost by submission in the next round. So going forward though, those are two fun ass fighters. I can't wait to see either of them again.
Yeah, I agree. That's it for the recap. UFC London. Move on to UFC 291 next week. Got the BMF belt on the line. Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. You got co-main event Jan Blachowicz and Alex Pereira, along with 10 other fights that are pretty high level card overall. It's from top to bottom. You get some good fights in all different types of weight divisions, and we'll be bringing you the preview for that very soon. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you hit the subscription button to support the channel here. You can follow the Double Leg on the medias at the Double Leg to stay up to date with everything. You can follow me on all the medias at HeyJaiPicks. Where can they find you?
All social medias at the parlay_MMA.
All right. Till next time, we'll see you in the preview for UFC 291. The Double Leg signing out.